All right. How y'all doing today? All right. I want to appreciate y'all stepping in today. Take time out today. Again, this is part 15 of What's Love Got to Do with It. Last time we talked about anger, and we talked about, who did we talk about? Cain and his anger and where that can take you and where that can lead you. We also talked about the blood, the DBR. That's the most important thing that you need to be believing in, and how to control yourself, and what's love really got to do with it, you being a Christian of the faith and being a manager in the mysteries of Jesus Christ sent by Paul. So today we're going to be talking about Noah, and the word of the day is obedience, or obedient, to be obedient. So the first thing I want to get out the way is if you do not believe in the DBR, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, you need to do that immediately. Immediately. That's something that we need to strongly look at. You need to check yourself, check in the book, and see what the DBR actually is. Not baptism, not holy, not baptizing in water, not works or good deeds or any of that. If you do not believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross, he was buried, and he was rose again, according to the scriptures, on the third day, for you and your sinful tail, we have a problem. So that's the first thing we want to put out there. So, yeah. Any comments, any questions before we get started? All right. Now, before I start with Noah, we are going to, oh shoot, where's the iPad? It's all right, don't worry about it. Whatever they say, just let me know what they just let me know. So, before we get into all of this and talk about Noah and talk about God's love and Noah's faith and all of that good stuff, we're going to go to Daniel 3:16 and 30. When you're there, raise your hand. Joe, you got your notebook? You got your pen? Oh, what's happening, Matt? Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all for jumping on this live today. I know it's a little later than what a little earlier than what I usually do, and I know it's been like maybe at least 2 weeks since I did it again. I do apologize about that. My schedule been kind of thrown off because of my job, but that's no excuse. So, whenever you're there, raise your hand. Daniel 3, verses 16 through 30. And this is the reason why I'm reading this in this context is for this word of the day, the obedient, or to be or have obedience towards God. Because that's going to tie into Noah and his obedience towards God and where that had him in correlation. So, whenever you're ready. All right. Now, and we KJV as well. So, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this manner. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it wont be to be heated. And he commanded that the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. These men were bound in their coats, their hosens, and their hats, and their other garments, and they were cast in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fuel sued the men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Good God, I can't say that word. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished, and rose in haste, and he spake and said unto his counselors, Did we not cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He said, Lo, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. And then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed, neither their coats changed, the smell of the fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed to be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and had changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every person, nation, language, which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver out after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in province of Babylon. Sorry about that being so long. Yes, sir.
What was the point of all that?
The point of that was showing what obedience to God looks like.
Okay. Obedience. I got you. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Word of the day. So, obedience to God, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Because if we go back up a few verses earlier, what the king was asking him to do was to praise another God. I think a statue, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back up to it. A statue, or I think another god of the one which they were serving. And they refused not to do it. Now, in those particular times, in any kingdom, you couldn't do such thing. If you lived in a Roman kingdom, you praise Roman gods. If you do not, treason, and you could be killed, and you could be a Roman candle, literally. And that goes for all of the other kingdoms, no matter what religion. If you don't praise our God, you will be beheaded. You will be killed of some sort, shape, or fashion. You won't get to leave, none of that. Either you bow or you don't. Same thing with the and I hate to use a movie reference, but same thing in the Chronicles of Riddick. They were asking the dude the same thing, and he was like, "No, I'm not doing that." And then he forced him because he dude grabbed him and took his soul in front of everybody, and they was like, "Ugh." I was like, "All right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna bow." So, but the point of reference is obedience. And the reason why I use Daniel 3:16 through 30 is that was a heck of a consequence to go to Jesus, to stand there and be like, nah, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna praise your God. Throw me. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do with me, go right ahead. And it was like, okay. Turn the heat up on them, throw them in there. The heat was so bad that the men that were throwing them in the fire ended up dying and burning, and not Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. How ironic is that? But that just shows you the importance of obedience. So now, let's talk about Noah. What do we know about Noah? Just from anything at all.
He built the ark.
Built the ark, okay. Do we know how big the ark was? Go ahead.
I don't know by memory how big the ark was, but one thing about Noah that he cursed his son.
Cursed his son.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Could you elaborate on that?
He cursed his son.
Can you elaborate on that?
He cursed him.
I'm saying, okay. I mean, that's he cursed him, but what did he do? What was the trends?
He had saw him naked.
Okay. So he cursed him. What? He cursed him.
Yeah, he cursed his son.
Now I'm saying, what was the curse? What did the curse entail?
Because he saw him naked.
Not the events before he cursed him. What happened after he cursed him?
Well, I'm just giving some. You said, what do we know about Noah?
No, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, he cursed his son. His son saw him naked. His other two sons didn't want to see his nakedness, so they walked backwards and covered his naked body up when because he got drunk the night before.
Yeah, he was drunk.
Yeah, but his son saw him naked, and he got mad at that, and he cursed him.
Okay.
Got favor with God.
Okay. Anyone else? Nothing? You three? Nothing? What about Noah, Joe? What you know about Noah? Go to the mic.
He built a big boat.
Huh?
He built a big boat.
He built a big boat. All right. Devin?
He used to sacrifice animals.
All right. Josh? Something, anything. Something. It don't have to be something extravagant. Just something.
Why did you do that? He followed God's commandments. Command.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
But he did curse Ham.
Right.
That's important.
Yeah, it is important.
I just don't want to say what the curse was because I don't want to mess your Bible study up.
Oh, no. I didn't go into depths of whether or not he cursed Ham or not, but you can most definitely speak on it.
It's in the 9th chapter of Genesis.
Okay.
Everybody can read on it.
Okay. We'll if we have time, we'll most definitely exploit that. So most important thing that we want to know about Noah, besides him building an ark and him cursing his son, we want to know that his faith with God was huge. So much, in fact, that his faith kept him from being killed. and being wiped out off the planet, him and his family. So essentially, that would be like in today's time, God come to Landon one day and say, hey, I need you to have this indestructible truck that's going to run you from here to such and such. I needed to be able to do this. I needed to be able to do that. I need you to be able to do all that stuff. And because of your faith, you and your family will be saved. Nothing that you did, you three, or the other three, nothing that they did. It was off of him and his faith, not nothing that he physically did, just his faith in Jesus. So we're going to put context into that. So again, Noah's faith is probably his biggest attribute because it kept him from being wiped off the planet. Because in the flood, as we all know, which we'll get to, the whole planet was flooded. No one survived. 8 people lived. 8, not 10, not 11. 8. 3 sons, 3 daughter-in-laws, my wife and me. That's what obedience looks like. So ask yourself, how obedient are you being towards God? Because his love for you is like no other. Because in Noah's case, it saved his life. In the life of humanity. To be one, think about this, before we even get into the scriptures. You on the boat with all of the other fish and animals and birds, and you know for a fact that you one of the only people on the planet. You sitting around playing cards, playing dominoes, playing Monopoly with the last people on the planet that you know of. Ain't nobody else. Ain't a boat coming. Ain't a raft just, hey. Everybody drowned. Yes, sir.
So you're saying that the faith that kept him alive is the grace that he found with God?
Yes, sir.
Because the Bible say Noah found grace.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're saying that, like, what kept him alive, the grace or the faith?
His faith.
Okay.
But he found grace with God.
Because of his faith.
Because of his faith. Had his faith been a little less, he might not have found that grace. He might have just started over all over again. Because he was that close.
And 7 tells us that.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Hebrews 11:7. Let's go to it before I start going into my scriptures. Thank you, sir. Hebrews 11:7.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Once and siete.
Who?
Hebrews, once and siete.
Did you just, you know what? Okay. And I will read it.
I just spoke in tongues.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You spoke in Spanish. Don't you play with God like that.
It's a different language.
Okay. I see what you're doing. Okay. By faith, Noah, being warned of God of these, Hebrews 11:7. Sorry about that. Raise your hand. Hey, where is your notebook, sir? You got some paper?
Yeah, figure it out. Just sit here with nothing.
Grab some paper out of there. Get you a pen. It's a pen right there, Lauren. Can you pass me that pen, please? I got you.
Come get it.
All right. Are we there? All right. Here we go. And by faith, Noah being warned of God of these things, not seen as yet. Thank you, sir. Moved with fear and prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by which he commanded the world in becoming the heir of righteousness, which is by faith. Thank you, sir, for that verse. So, before I get into these verses, let's look and see how big this ark or boat it is. Before I give you the actual guesstimates, how big do you think the boat is? Yes, sir.
Well, I had something to ask before that
Go
question.
ahead. You all right?
I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about what's love got to do with it, part 15, or are we talking about something else?
No, we're talking about the love that God has for us, but in that love, how to be obedient or to have obedience.
Okay.
That is the reference to Daniel 3:16 in the other verses. I'm sorry if I didn't clarify that. Should I have said that at the beginning?
Oh, no, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't understand.
Okay.
I didn't understand what was going on.
Well, sorry about that. No, sorry about that. I'm thinking you guys are here with me when you're not. Okay.
No, I thought that I thought we was talking about what's love got to do with it.
Yeah.
Because you said part 15, and then we start going into obedience and faith and all that, which you can tie in.
Uh-huh.
But love, love is great. Go ahead. I'm gonna take over your Bible study.
Today's topic is what's love got to do with it? Part 15. Absolutely. We're using Noah as the illustration for God's love for Noah and for us by Noah's obedience to God by listening to him. Sorry if that didn't tie in. I thought you guys see it the way I see it, but you don't. So again, God's love for us in saving humanity shows us that, hey, we need to really take into account how obedient we are towards God and how much faith we have in him, because he loves us a lot. Because in these verses, we're going to find that he almost just said, scratch it. I'm going to just start again. Like, just let that sit there for a minute. It ain't got so bad. Mind you, we still in Genesis. I'm going to just get rid of y'all and start again. One person's faith. He said, all right, I'm going to give humanity grace through Noah and save y'all till. Because I love you dearly. Because he has enough faith and obedience in me, and he loves me, I'm going to save y'all. Now, the rest of y'all today got to go. Because y'all are crooked. From babies on up to grown men. You're crooked, you're dirty. Now, Noah is too. Let's not get that twisted. Because we are all not good. And we all need a redeemer. And we all need someone to atone for our sins. Noah's faith kept him alive, though, in Jesus. So much that he had grace. So let's just really look at the love part that God has for us. Because a lot of people say that God don't have no love for us. Well, clearly he does. But any estimates on how big this ark or this boat is before I give you the measurements that me and Lauren looked up here? Just no wrong answers. Just it could be a movie reference of how big you think the boat is. It could be anything or how you really think this, because there's a website called the Ark Covenant, and they have took the time out to recreate biblically and physically the ark. in golfer wood and everything. It's huge. They took the time out to literally create this big old boat, this ark, to show us God's love for us in the best way that they know how, to illustrate how really big this thing is. Yes, ma'am.
Maybe it was as big, probably a tad bit bigger than the Titanic.
That was one of the measurements that they used on the websites that we were looking at, that they use as a point of reference to how big this thing is. Now, the Titanic was a pretty big boat. It was the biggest thing we've probably ever seen with our own humane eyes besides the Ark. And that crashed into two pieces in the Atlantic. So, and that's pretty big. But yeah, we're gonna go to, where's the measurements? Measurements. Okay, we're gonna go to Genesis 6 and 15. When you're there, raise your hand. Again, I'm gonna try to keep this around an hour, so start to remind me. I know I can get a little chatty. Start to remind me when the hour is up. In verse 15 reads, "This is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits." Now, for those of you who don't know what a cubit is, a means of measurement from a forearm to an elbow. This is your forearm. This is your elbow. This is a cubit. This. So 300 of those. Now, 300 cubits doesn't seem like a lot as far as width is concerned. True. As far as length is concerned, 50 cubits wide does not seem like a lot. And 30 cubits high doesn't seem like a lot neither. Seems like a very relative small ark, right? They put all of these animals of humanity on the boat with the 8 people who lived. So, to put this in a modern terms, thanks to the mathematician Lauren Clark, this was 510 feet long. It's a few football fields. 80 wide. So that's almost 2 football fields in width, because 55 in yards. Yeah, so it's almost 2 football fields wide. Now think about how wide a football field is. They can put 4 of those Army helicopters, land them on the field, propellers and all, and none of them touch. 4 of them. The big ones, not the small ones, the big ones, the ones that carry the tanks. And then 50 feet high. So just imagine height. That's probably, who knows how high that is? I don't know. But it's pretty high. So to put it in a more relative terms, NASA could have 3 space shuttles that apparently went to the moon land on it, nose to tail, 3 of them. 500, 510 length, 80 wide, 50 tall, 51 tall, so excuse me. And a space shuttle from NASA, whether it's from Florida or Houston, is about 180 feet tall. It weighs 4.5 million pounds, and the bay of it, or the bottom, is 15 feet in diameter, and it is 60 feet long. That's long enough for a school bus to fit in. That's perspective. So you could put an entire DeSoto ISD school bus in one of these NASA spaceships. Now think about how big a bus is. That fits 30 kids, including the driver. And a NASA space shuttle will swallow that whole as if it was Jonah. So, again, God's love for you is nothing on this planet. Because to put 3 NASA space shuttles nose to tail from the beginning to the end, and they all can fit comfortably on the ark, and 6 people did it with no crane, no power tools, no nothing. They built it. Took them a minute to build it. Took them a very long time. I think Noah was 600 years in age, about 600 years in age before they finally got it together. But again, left and right, 3 more of those. Yes, sir.
How you doing today?
Pretty good, man. What's happening?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for teaching us today. I have some fun facts
Yes, sir.
about Noah and the flood, if you'd like to hear it.
Yes, sir. Please, 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 please.
Noah, reading on the flood, I noticed that, we overlooked something that God, Noah built the ark and he told all the animals, every creeping thing on the planet, to come into the ark, right? But he didn't mention nothing about the fish.
Do tell.
He didn't mention nothing about the fish.
Do tell.
That's one fun fact. Another.
I wonder why he didn't mention anything about fish.
Also, this is gonna be a real fun fact. In Genesis chapter 6, verse 17, I found out that Noah's Ark went into outer space.
Could you read that and make sure that you specify the outer space part, please, sir?
In Genesis chapter 6, and we had
Verse 17.
Verse 17.
Yes, sir.
Oh no, not Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 7.
Excuse me, 7.
Genesis chapter 7, verse 17.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm gonna start with 16. It says, and they that went in male and female of our flesh, and God, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Then it says, and the flood was 40 days upon the earth, And then it says, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth.
Perspective. Now,
it kind of lets me, it helps me understand why we have a bunch of holes, a bunch of craters in the moon that doesn't spin, that's facing the earth. Why we have craters in the moon that doesn't spin.
right.
And that part that has holes on it is facing the earth, but the dark side of the moon has no craters.
Yeah.
And the oldest rock that has ever been found on the planet Earth was found on the moon.
Wonder how that washed up on the earth.
Just some fun facts. Something to challenge and study on.
Right. Meanwhile, NASA doesn't give us that specific information. They only give us that we landed on the moon in 1963. Yes, sir.
If you Google, got some time, And hey, where is the oldest rock ever found?
Mm-hmm.
It was found on the moon.
Mm.
And it makes sense because of the flood was that ferocious. Water shot off the earth, above the earth. It shot far.
Mm.
It wasn't just like, the world was flooded. No, it was a catastrophic event.
Mm.
Like it was springs shooting from the earth. It wasn't just rain coming down. I think we have the image of
Right.
rain
just
coming
just
down.
being poured down like precipitation. Right.
It was not only that, it was actual wells of water streaming, busting through the earth, shooting into the sky.
Right. I would imagine so, because we do have glacier holes out there in Yellowstone that just still work to this day. Like they are a spectacle to see. The water just shoots up out of nowhere, probably every hour or so. Just random. Hot water is burning. It's hot enough to burn you.
Like the moon shouldn't have craters,
Right.
facing us. It shouldn't have it. There's nothing. We're blocking the moon
Right.
to have for anything to hit it, and there are tons of craters on the moon, on the side of the moon that face us, and the moon doesn't spin.
Right. So how is that possible?
How is it possible? Well, I know why. It was the flood.
Mm.
And it so happenly the oldest rock is found on the moon. You can Google that. You can research that.
Right.
Go ahead, Terry.
No. You're right. You're
Go
right. I
ahead.
appreciate that. I appreciate that insight. Matt, you are absolutely right. We've never been to the moon. Absolutely. Which is why you should not be paying attention to any of these political people, CBS, NBC, NBC, Fox News. All of these people, they lie. But again, just veering off the track just a little bit. But we're going to go to, I think this is Zephantine. Is that how you say that word? Zeppin something. Zeppin. Yeah. There it is. The lobotomist. Yeah, there it is. Zephantine 3:17. Zephaniah, excuse me. 3:17. And when you're there, raise your hand. And we are in KJV today, not CSB. All right. Zephaniah 3:17. And thank you for whoever's on today. Thank you from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Thank you. All right. And the Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing. That's God's love for you. And specifically today, Noah. That's what his love looked like for you. You want another one? Okay, cool. You ain't feeling that one? Okay, fine. Let's go. Psalms, and we're gonna go. What's that? My handwriting is bad. 18, 1 and 2. Yes, sir. I'll get to your question once I read this verse. Yes, sir. 18, 1 and 2. That's false, Chris. Nobody left the firmament or touching God's moon creators visible, though. Well, we will get to whether or not we landed on the moon or not between Noah or Louis Armstrong on another time. I appreciate the comment, but we were specifically talking about Noah's faith and his obedience towards God and God's love. Whether or not we landed on the moon or not, but whether it was Noah or Louis Armstrong in the Apollo 13, that's not our concern at this particular time. Yes, ma'am. What are you saying the verse? Oh, okay. You was asking for the verse? Okay. And it says, I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. So Yes, sir. Your question.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
You-
Sorry about that. So again, God's love for you looks like that. It's outer space worthy. It asks the question, well, how did we get all of the animals on the ark, but all of the continents ain't connected? I will wait. Make that make sense. Because according to some scientists, Pangea is where all of the continents were connected in this big landmass and they just slowly separated. Okay, cool, fine. Maybe South Africa and South America and Africa were connected at one point in time. But at that particular time, and based on our globe, they're separated. So how is it that all of the animals from Africa and South America and Europe and Asia and all of these other, and Australia, which is a big old island, how did they swim through the water, not being eaten by the fish animals, and make it to the ark 2 by 2? Please tell me. But yet you understand God. Yet you know how smart he really is. If you can explain that, I'll take this mic off, take this jumpsuit off, and get up out of here. Please, because me and Lauren spent over an hour trying to figure it out. Came to the conclusion it's not possible. It doesn't make sense. There's no evidence for it. Again, I'm pretty sure Noah had the same questions. But his faith, which found grace with God, didn't worry about how I'm going to get the animals to the ark. He had a bigger task. Getting the gopher wood off of these big trees, falling, taking them, shaping them, carpeting them, and making this ark, to this day, is one of the 8th wonders of the world. They talk about it on National Geographic all the time. How did this happen? Where does this come from? Who could build such a thing? I will tell you. The Almighty, Jesus Christ. That's the answer. And that's it. That's all you need to know. But more important, and secondly, is that you need to check yourself about your faith in your obedience towards God. Period. What does Daniel say? Yes, because the flood would have wiped out those animals and they weren't on the ark if the ark, if not the flood, then the fish. Right. But again, no one, no scientist, no animalist, none of these people can tell me how all of these different land masses are separated by water. But all of the animals from each continent, which is 7, all made it on the ark. Because they weren't like they were just in the woods. Penguins don't live in Jerusalem. They live in Antarctica, where it's cold. You ain't never seen a penguin in Jerusalem. It's too hot. And you know they didn't fly. And even the penguins that are in Madagascar, which is a hot climate island, where'd they swim to? Because Madagascar to the coast of South Africa is probably 50 miles. Who's swimming that far? Fish don't even swim that far, and they are of the water. Whales don't go from the Gulf of Mexico to Antarctica. They go from here, bust a U-turn, come on back. They don't swim all over the place. No. But they're in the water each and every day. They live in the water. Some things you just have to take God's word on it. His love for you is out of this world, literally and figuratively. So it's you can't explain that. You can't explain how none of these animals logically got to the ark and how they knew where it was, but God. I mean, hey, if you don't, I mean, okay. I'm just going to read the next one. Titus 2:14. And if you have any comments or questions, please don't be afraid to shout them out. When you're there, raise your hand. All right. Here we go. Titus 2:14. Who gave himself for us that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purity unto himself, a particular people, zealous of good works. Oh, peculiar. And let me read that again. Thank you. Who gave himself for us that he might redeem us from all iniquity, that he might redeem us. God, why did I read that again? From all iniquity and purify unto himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. Redeem. You are not good. You need a redeemer. You need a tone setter. You need someone to die for you. You need someone to bring you all the animals to the ark so that you can leave when the rain comes. Because you can't leave until they get all on the boat. I don't care where the water's at. I don't care if it's at your kneecap. You can't leave. But, God is, he's not real. He doesn't exist. Okay, explain that. Explain how 4 men can build a boat that big. With no power tools, no cranes. It take us 3 years to build a highway, and we got 11,000 men working for the city of Dallas just to build another 2 lanes on 67. Meanwhile, Noah is going on 600 years of age. Let me go back to how old this man was. Genesis 7:1, and I'm going to read on until I find the answer. Oh, never mind. There it is in Genesis 7:6. And it reads, and Noah was 600 years old when the floods of the waters was upon the earth. 600 years old. Now, who at 100 is still moving around in young health? Still looking like them younger selves at 100 years old. Now, I know this rule doesn't apply to Noah because at that particular time they were living quite a long time. But again, 600 is pretty old. Can anyone date anything back 600 years? No. Okay. But God is not real. He don't love us. But this 600-year-old man and his sons built something that could have NASA at all. Something so big that a school bus would look like a mouse on the boat. Okay. All right. Galatians 5 and I think this is 16. I'm sorry about my handwriting. this. Oh, Galatians 1. Sorry about that. That is a parenthesis. My handwriting is bad. That's a shame. I can't even read my own handwriting. And I'm the one that wrote it. Ain't that something? Galatians 5:1. And it reads, Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ had made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. We need a redeemer. Because you can't get yourself out of bondage. Nobody. Not even Meshach, Abednego, and what's his name? Good God, I can't remember the other dude's name. Yeah, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were bound into the fiery furnace and thrown in a fire. Could not get out. Redeemer. We need one. We have one. What is the yoke of bondage? Great question, Darian. The yoke of bondage is the stronghold that sin has over you until you accept the DBR of Jesus Christ, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Sin is the bondage. You cannot run from it. You cannot flee it. It is imputed. It is embedded on you. It is passed down to you. Whether you want it or not, it is given to you. And you need someone to relieve you of this. And his name is Jesus Christ. And he died for you so that you would no longer have the yoke of bondage on you or sin. Period. So your faith in the DBR can keep you alive just like Noah. Because if you don't, you will be drowned not of water, but of fire in a place where you cannot run from if you do not accept the DBR. And it's coming up in a minute. I think it's going to be April 9th. Easter. Not the Easter bunny. Not the candy. Not the eggs. Jesus Christ putting a hole, and allowing himself to be killed on the cross for you and me, because we are not good. So there's just a little perspective for you. But if you want an even better perspective, Noah. 8 people were left on the planet Earth. Or excuse me, in outer space. That's perspective. Now there are more than 8 people in this room right now. So somebody didn't make it. Somebody didn't make it. Based off of I'm being figurative, but not literally, but being figurative for the point of reference, but right, for the house for sure. But yeah, just saying the room, I didn't want to include anyone else. I didn't want anybody offended. But yeah, so somebody didn't make it. And I'm pretty sure that while that water is overtaking their lungs in Jerusalem, in Africa, in Texas, or wherever they were at that particular time, I'm pretty sure they would have liked to have known another chance. But God gives us grace each and every day. And you do not know when your last day will be your last day. So do not take them for granted. Remember that you want to be a part of the 8. Because when Jesus come back, ain't no more second chances. When he busts those clouds and everybody's at a kneel, it's too late. It's too late. It's not another time to say, give me 3 more minutes. No. That's it. Because when the water started coming out of the ground and out of the sky, that was it. Meanwhile, they had enough time to get all of the animals on every other part of the world in the boat. And the door be closed. And the people that were supposed to be in the boat were in the boat, and the door was closed. It wasn't like it happened in a day. Noah was 600 years old when the water finally came. And it didn't stop for 40 days. So for a month and 2 weeks, consistent water. Now the drains fill up outside when it rains for half a day out here in DeSoto. Takes a minute. The water's everywhere. It's splashing all over the sidewalk. Can't nobody really ride. Now imagine that rain and the sprinkler system being on for 38 more days consecutive, day and night. You done went to McDonald's to grab some dinner, breakfast, and lunch, and it's still been raining. You done had to use your wipers 38 days in a row. But God's love for you is not enough. Okay. Sure. I just, perspective. The animals had enough time to get on the boat. And no one else saw fit to say, hey, let me have faith in this dude. Perspective. And more importantly, before I end this, is your family following Christ? Because, yeah, Noah's faith found him grace. But hypothetically, what if one of his sons was not following him? And he had to leave him on the earth as the water came and did not stop. So for those of you who are in leadership positions, mind yourselves and your kids and your spouses. Because only 8 people lived. That was it. Do you really want to miss out on being the only 8 when Jesus come back? Not saying that it will be a literal 8, but it won't be as big as you think it is. Because I'm pretty sure while they were building that boat, they had enough to put quite a few people on there. If they can put a space shuttle, 3 of them from nose to tail on the top of it and have space, how many people can you fit? Because 3 of those can have a school bus each. So that's 30, 30, 30. So that's at least 120 people, or 90 people that are on the boat on top of the 8. And you had every creeping, crawling animal that was on the boat as well. Lions, wildebeest, hyenas, prairie dogs, pit bulls, cats, mouses, roaches, insects of all kinds. And they all made it. Is not believing in Jesus Christ really that bad? Is it really not that important? Because again, he come back. That's it. Not if he comes back, when he comes back. Do you really want to be the person looking up and saying, who is that? Man, he got a lot of people with him. That's good. Is that the sun? What is that? I can't even. Let me put my glasses on. I can't see still. Really? So, message of today, and we're going to finish this next week. Believe in the DBR. Is your faith going to be up until Noah's? No. No. It's not. But again, the amount of faith is not the issue. It's where the faith is tied to. Because if your faith is in the baptism of the water, you didn't make it. If it's in believing that God is just one and one alone, you didn't make it. If it's in anything else besides Jesus dying for you, being buried for you, and rose for you, according to the scriptures, by his own power, by the way, the same power that got all of the animals on the boat, the same power that consistently had it watered the earth to the point of being in orbit. No, it didn't have no spacesuit. Neither did his kids. But the water, ask this question, where did the water go when it started to reside? Hold on. I know that's funny, but I'm being serious. Because when you fill up the tub and you put the plug in there and you get done taking a bath and you see how filthy you are and you take the plug out, the water goes to the drain, which goes to the sewer, which goes to the lake or the ocean. If earth is flooded, where is the water going? You can only take so much water to feed the plants in the trees. Again, but you don't want to believe in Jesus Christ. But yet you can't explain where the water is going. Okay. All right. That's your business. Again, believe that Jesus Christ died for you, he was buried for you, and he rose for you on his own power and his own free will. This is Terry Wheeler. This is Study with Grace. Yes, sir. Wait. Before we finish, we had a few. Oh, I'm sorry about that. We had a few questions. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. I was waiting for you to. I want to interrupt the.
Oh no! It wasn't a sermon. I'm sorry if I sounded like a sermon. Y'all could have interjected. Y'all know me. Come on now. Go ahead.
Well, I tried, but you told me you told me.
I shushed you off one time, but okay.
So I didn't know if it was okay.
Nah, you all right. You knew what you was doing. You ain't slick.
I kind of want to address the whole mankind has never been out of space.
Right. Go ahead.
That
Oh, is that what? Okay.
no,
Go ahead.
it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Matt, I think he's on here, right?
Yeah, he was on here. I think he's still on here. But yeah, he said that man had never been to the moon before.
I think a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we really don't. Our theology, our intention is good, right, and our theology is good as well. But that's why you gotta rightly divide God's word. The Bible says that God gave us. Is Matt on here? The scripture states that God created the heavens and the earth. And it also states that God gave us man dominion of the earth. He gave us dominion of space. Right? But that don't mean that it's not a area where we can't explore. Dominion mean this is what we rule
over. Right.
This is what we rule, right? We have no rulership out beyond what God has given us, which is earth.
Right. But that don't mean that we can't.
But it doesn't mean that because we don't have dominion over something, it can't be explored. The Bible speaks of space exploration all through it. Also keep this in mind as well. God never gave the angels dominion of space, the heavens, right? But all through the Bible, we find the angels in the heavens. All throughout scripture, meaning space. Heavens mean space. Not only God didn't give the angels dominion over the earth, but they're here.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to be careful on how we interpret it. The scriptures, okay. There are scriptures that's talked about in the Bible for us to take a look at Orion's belt. How can we take a look at Orion's belt if we don't explore outside of Earth?
Fabulous question.
That's what it says. How can we look upon the vast of the universe just by looking up in the sky?
Right.
You can't do it.
No, you got to go to a place where
we gotta build technology. We gotta set probes around our Earth to give us a kind of like a boost, right?
Right.
And I don't want to get into take the whole time. I'll call you later on and give you a bunch of Bible scriptures on how it's okay to explore space.
Right. Thank you. Any questions or comments before we end the live from anyone? Anything that you want to say? Anything? Joseph? To the mic. What'd you like about Bible study, Joe?
It was good and it was good.
What'd you like about it?
Like the Noah was sacrificed the animals.
Okay. Good, Joe. Devin, anything? Anything at all? Nothing? So you don't have anything that you liked about?
Talking about the flood.
Okay.
Some stuff.
All right. Thank you. Josh? Don't have to be anything long. Don't have to be anything extravagant. Yes, ma'am.
I'll go while she walking. I like how you put emphasis on, because when we think about Noah's Ark, we don't think about how in the world all those animals got on that boat. Don't think about, and it was saying fish. Where did they go? You know, you highlighted some things that
Mm-hmm.
that is a really good.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's all right. We'll come back to you.
I liked how you went in depth with the whole arc thing, explaining how big the arc was and really giving us a good picture of how it was, how big it was.
Right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
And I got to make sure we understand that you highlighted the deity, the power of the Almighty God, showing that He can do anything, even that we can't imagine in our minds and
Right.
our brains, because we are humans that can't
Fathom.
put it together. You know, so we're more logical, but God can do anything, as you've showed us through Noah's Ark.
Right. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How can I, if I tell you,
Mm-hmm.
Terry, how you gonna tell me anything, but yet you can't bind up the Eiffel? What is it? The tower in Paris,
The Eiffel Tower.
the Eiffel Tower.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? You can't say nothing because you didn't build the Eiffel Tower. What does that mean?
Well, that would try to compare me and make me lesser than. Just because I can't do something that someone else did, maybe I wasn't called to do that.
Ask it a different way.
Yes, sir.
How would you even know what the Eiffel Tower is? If I come to you and say, you can't build the Eiffel Tower, keep in mind you're clueless about it. Why will I mention the Eiffel Tower to you?
As a point of reference.
As a point of reference.
Right. But with Noah, gotcha, how can I build something when we've never seen it? Just follow me on this. Like, I don't, what he's telling him, and I'm trying to turn this not into a sermon, but this is getting sermon-like. Oh, sermon. Like, I need you to build an ark. God, what's an ark? I don't know what that is. What's a boat so big that a space shuttle can fit on it? What does that look like? How big is it? It's not they didn't even call it a boat. They called it an ark. How big can a boat be that it changes the name from boat to ark? And I got to put every living thing that has 4 legs and 2 antennas on the boat. But I don't know what it looks like, and I don't know how big 300 cubits is. Go ahead.
And is it logical to use a point of reference with someone that there is no human way possible for them to achieve it?
No, because that's called one of your favorite words, redundant. I can't use a point. I can't say build it like the Titanic when it doesn't exist yet. You gotta trust me. You gotta have faith with me. I'm telling you to build an ark, but you don't know what a boat looks like. How? Again, if God is not in this, where is he? Because when he's telling him this, I'm pretty sure Noah's like, I ain't never seen an ark before. But yet I built it at 600 years old.
It actually took Noah 100 years
To build it.
to build it.
So I was 500 when I started and 600 when. Think about how some of us don't even live to see 100. Again, perspective on what you do with your life. He's had faith in God for 100 years. Can't nobody say that. At least 100, maybe even more. Yes, ma'am. Like, how do you? And that was a perfect. I'm glad because I didn't even think about that. Like, I'm using a point of reference as a Titanic because I'm 2,000 years away from the Ark and 100 years away from the Titanic. So I can look at both of them and say, oh, well, they're kind of relatively the same. I'm not over here as Noah with the Ark trying to figure out how the Gober wood is going to freaking build the boat when I don't even know what it looks like. I can't fathom something that big because I've never seen anything that big. But yet, if you ever get a chance to go to the Ark Covenant, the thing is huge. It looks like something God would make. And I'll leave it. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Battery went out.
Well, I have a comment for the for people on here, and I hope Matthew is still on here. The Bible says that God gave us dominion of the earth, and He wants us to take care of it, right? We in order to take care of the earth, we have to know of our surroundings.
So that means I have to do what?
We have to understand how the sun works, right? We got to understand about the sun rays. We got to understand about the sunbeams, the radiant, the sun rays from the sun that can causes, a lot of heat
stroke,
a lot of things. We have to be able to analyze these things before it comes to protect the earth, right?
So we know what we're up against.
Absolutely.
Right.
That doesn't mean that that's our dominion. However, it does mean that we have to be able to look around us. We have to understand what the magnetic field of the earth is. We need to know how far how far up it goes above the earth to protect us from harmful rays of space.
Right.
We are told to take care of the earth. Right? So we have to put probes in place to see the deep space from upcoming objects.
Right.
Right.
Like an asteroid field.
Like, right, when there's been plenty of meteor showers that has actually landed here on Earth, right? But due to our advanced knowledge, like it's prophesied in the book of Daniel, that knowledge will increase. We're able to see before it comes, hey, there's a meteor shower that's getting ready to pass Jupiter, right? Be ready. For this, I mean, we've gotten so good through the grace of God, we can actually locate
where it's coming
from or where it's going to hit. Okay, that's all because of our exploration of outer space, which we are not prohibited. We don't have dominion over it, but we're not prohibited either. Right. If you read the book of Job in the 38th chapter, it'll tell you these things. If you read Proverbs, it'll tell you these things. I don't have the scriptures by heart, but I know those some two good books. The book of Job in the 38th chapter for sure. The book of Isaiah, the book of Genesis. You'll see the importance of space exploration, right? But it's not for the gain of ourselves. It's for the gain of the glory of God.
To look at it and be in awe.
It's not for us to have some kind of gain.
Right.
It's for the glory and the majesty of Jesus Christ. Right. To see, how can we see Orion with our bare eyes? We can't do it. God will not reference Orion or Peleus. All this is found in the book of Job. This is space stuff.
Right.
Or Peleus or I forget the we can't see these things with the naked eye.
No. And have tried.
We can't do it. But God referenced it to us. Right? There's a lot of Bible that discuss outer space.
Right.
Not just outer space of we're prohibited. Right? Because the Bible doesn't say we're prohibited from outer space. The Bible says that we have dominion over earth. I mean, this is where we live. This is where we rule. We will die if we go outside the earth, if we not, prepared.
Right. Properly prepared.
Absolutely.
Right.
However, we can see, okay, can I just say this one thing?
Go ahead.
Today's time, we don't necessarily have to physically go into outer space. You know what I mean? Like, mankind, God has allowed for mankind to gain a sense of intelligence so strong, we can build robotic forces and drones.
Send them out
on our behalf with a bird's eye view and a head to toe view, right? To explore, to see what's going on and how it impacts our home.
Right? That's our job.
It's our job, absolutely. Do y'all know that if it wasn't for the space exploration, right, that some of the harmful rays from the sun, right, would have took a lot of folks out?
Right, because we wouldn't know. To attack it or how to be prepared for it.
Absolutely, we wouldn't know. We'll just be some sitting ducks.
Right.
Because we didn't take the time out to explore the heavens, which the Bible does not prohibit.
Right.
Right. So there's a lot, man. I can't wait. We might need to do a Bible study on that, T-Dub.
Right.
Is it okay to explore? Is it even possible
to
explore the heavens?
Thank you. And that was a great way to end the segment of What's Love Got to Do with It, part 15.
Oh, we done with
No. I'm saying today's today's episode. Sorry about that. No, we are not done with what's love got to do with it, because there are many other moments in the Bible where God shows love. And I accidentally used one of them to point a reference to Noah today with the Daniel 3:16-30 verse, or verses. So again, I want to thank you guys for being on here. I know we had a little bit of time over, but that is fine. Again, this is your boy, T Dub. This is Study with Grace.